Hi, welcome back. This video is going to walk you through some additional research strategies that are designed to help you get started finding academic sources. Um, the library, it doesn't look like this library here, but it is a big place and it can be really overwhelming. So I want to give you a sense of how to get started doing academic research in a way that I think will be productive for the kinds of questions that you're looking into. So we're going to start by trying to be able to find books, the peer review articles, and if we get to it, peer-reviewed government websites, and then news and special topics research. So what you're going to need is you'll need a computer with the internet, which if you're watching this video, you should have, right? You need a library card. You'll need an issue question, and I think most importantly is the curiosity and just interest in your own issue question. I think that's really essential for staying motivated while you're doing research. So where to find sources, I tried to put together a list of databases and search engines that you can use to find sources. I think Academic Search Premier is the biggest and has the most articles. JSTOR tends to work really well for humanities research. It's similar to Academic Search Premier, but it's also a way of filling in gaps. So if you're not finding much in Academic Search Premier, try JSTOR. CQ Researcher is good on some issues, and it's good in the sense that it has pretty in-depth information and reports. The pro-con section is, I'll tell you right now, total crap. It's full of just biased articles. Psych articles, if you're doing anything connected to psychology or brain science, that can be a really good database. And if you're looking for philosophical articles, the Gale Virtual Reference Library database, specifically the religion and philosophy one, that one can be a helpful place for getting coverage on the issues that you're looking into. For finding books, the Harmony Library Catalog, our own library, can be good on some things, but we tend to have a limited collection. Prospector branches out to all the libraries in all of Colorado. So you get a huge number of books. The catch there is that you have to request those books, and then those books have to be delivered to our library where you can pick them up. That's free, but it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to get those books. So if you're going to request books, do that search first, find the books, order them, and then hopefully you can get them before spring break or sometime over spring break. Additionally, there's magazines, and ProQuest News is going to be your best starting point for finding news articles, magazines, etc. It searches all of the magazines and news articles at once. So it's a lot easier than Google for that kind of information. And the starting point I would recommend is going to be the Internet Encyclopedia Philosophy or the Stanford Encyclopedia Philosophy. And I'll show you those two sources in a moment. And for citing stuff, EasyBib is really good. So as far as getting started, I would recommend starting by looking for books because any book directly addressing your issue question is going to be more in-depth and comprehensive than any journal article will be. It'll have multiple chapters on the same subject. And then after books, I would say looking for credible academic sources that are directly addressing your issue question. Try to find academic authors that are studying the topic that you're now beginning to research, and they'll be experts on it, and they're a good starting point because they're the most up-to-date scholars asking similar kinds of questions that you're asking. Make sure to place holds on your books ASAP, so you can pick them up quickly. Also, I'd recommend keeping your keyword searches really broad at first. So if you're doing a research subject like air quality and air pollution, maybe even start as broad as just the word pollution. and then see what you get. You get a lot of sources, but then narrow it down to air pollution, and then maybe narrow it down further to air pollution tied to vehicles. But the idea is that you start with a really broad search term, cast your net as wide as possible, get everything that you can, and then start to narrow it down. And then if you need to back up again to just pollution and cars, then you could do that. And I would also recommend not just keeping your search words broad, but trying to search for the search words themselves. So thinking, if you're looking for pollution, how do you know it's going to be categorized in the library under the word pollution? Maybe it'll be categorized under smog or air quality. So doing searches just for the goal of finding the search terms is a really helpful way of getting the right words so that you're finding the right kinds of articles. And from the beginning, pay attention to any themes, concepts, or ideas that start to emerge in response to your issue question. So if something like regarding air quality, you might find that you might start finding out that air pollution often causes cancer. And you might realize that the air pollution as a cause of cancer is a theme that pops up consistently in your research. So start paying attention to that, and also look for other themes that pop up. Maybe causes of air pollution would be one. Economic impact would be maybe another one. The regulations around air pollution. These are all themes that might pop up in response to your issue question. So whatever your question is, start to pay attention to the different relevant main ideas that are related to your topic. And this is where I want to start showing you a few of the strategies. But the order I recommend doing things in is starting with the IEP or the SEP, the two encyclopedias, trying to get an overview of what philosophers are saying about your issue already. I wouldn't cite these sources in your paper themselves because they tend to be like tertiary sources. They're pulling together a whole bunch of primary sources and other secondary sources in order to give you an overview of things. But both of these sources usually have references at the bottom of their articles that will link you to and connect you to the actual secondary or primary sources that the encyclopedias are citing. So it gives you, similar to how Wikipedia will give you an overview of a topic and then links, these encyclopedias will give you a better overview of the actual topic you're writing about, and then references to the research that you might need to find. Then I would start with the Poudre Library and look for whatever books you can find. Then go to Prospector. If you can't find any books through our own library, try the rest of Colorado. And from there, then start the database search. Once you've got an idea of exactly what you're looking for and what books you may have, then you will know how to start looking for articles to fill gaps in your research. And I think this is a pretty good list of databases that you might search in. So if you're not finding anything in Academic Search Premier, try the other one. If you're not finding academic articles, try ProQuest to find news articles. So just to show you really quickly how the encyclopedia search might link you out to other articles. Say we're doing the topic. I remember in class we had a hard time thinking how to research population control. So if we type in population, just keep it broad at first, you get something like population genetics popping up. We also get a term called the repugnant conclusion. So these are two articles dealing with population, at least in some way. So I might come here and take a look at this and see if this has anything to do with the subject that I'm writing about. And initially, I already read this earlier, and it really didn't seem that relevant. I might scroll down and pay closer attention to this index or this chapter list to see if any of these discuss the topic that I'm writing about. They didn't. This one looks like it might, but it didn't look like it was directly relating to my issue question, so I'll put it in the come back to it later category. Looking into the repugnant conclusion, this one does seem to address the issue question of population control. And so it gets into population ethics. I notice Derek Parfit seems to be a philosopher who's first identified this conclusion. And so I'm beginning to find people, search terms, and other ways of addressing the question. So reading through here will give me an idea of what some of the philosophers are saying about this issue. And then say, I realize this Derek Parfit seems like somebody I should know more about. Then I can go down to the bottom of the entry on the repugnant conclusion and look in the bibliography for more sources. So Derek Parfit would be listed alphabetically here. So he's got a whole, looks like a whole article on future generations. That's a good one to look into. What does he say about this? So from here, then I could pull up Academic Search Premier, and I could do a search just for Parfit. And make sure you got his name spelled right. If you're spelling things wrong, you're not going to find things. And this is where you need your library card. And I definitely recommend that you memorize your library card number. It'll help. And then search for Parfit Derek and see what we get. So here he's going to start popping up, and whether we can find that exact article we were looking for is going to be tricky. One thing to check is check the full text box and see if that changes it. And the other way to do these searches, click on the advanced search. So I'm going to copy that into here, turn that into an author search so that I'm finding exactly Derek Parfit, and then go back to the article I wanted to find, was Future Generations. And do a title search. See if we have it here. Okay, it wasn't found here. Sometimes you can find stuff just published through Google, and that's a good way of finding articles that Academic Search Premier may not have. And it looks like there's a PDF available here. It looks like it was published in JSTOR. So if you open up JSTOR and look up Parfit Future Generations, then you could find the article there. And you need to do some further, maybe modify the search to change it to a title search. There's full text item title, and search. So this process of finding and tracking down articles can be time consuming and it can be difficult. But keep in mind that you've got multiple databases to search in, and you want to be fairly persistent in looking for things until you find the article that you were looking for. And sometimes Google is going to give you the search that you want, sometimes JSTOR, sometimes Academic Search Premier. You may need to even go all the way back to one of the other databases. So starting with IEP, SEP will give you good links to ideas, and then you can take those ideas and search for them more specifically in the other databases. So what I want to have you do is take some time and do a Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy or Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy search, find some sources, track those sources down, and then start